And the two are now moving. So starting off in Vegetable Valley, we're going to see something from Coon, possibly from Funky. From both of them, it looks like. Alright, so coming up is the wheel mix. Neither of them getting it. MKCocoon not even getting the correct setup, and Funky just missing the wheel. So they're gonna move through this area powerless. MKCocoon keeping beam for the meme. I kind of am hoping that this is a meme that he's carrying it, because there is a meme category known as beam percent, and I would kind of hope Cocoon wouldn't do that in a tournament race. But what was attempted there by both of them was a mix, so as they're running through 1-2, I can explain this. A mix is where you inhale two enemies that both have an ability at the same time, and it gives you a little slot wheel that gives you a random power-up. It's actually not quite random. It starts at the same time every time. It starts at the same... No. It's hard to explain. MKCocoon doing another trick with inhale, and not getting beam back. But with the mixes, and I don't know why Funky took so long to move, but with the mixes, what happens is it has the same order of abilities, and where it starts depends on the first enemy that you manage to get inside your mouth. So wheel is actually something that people have practiced getting at the beginning. And looking where I can, which is the tournament... Okay. Funky... Okay, I found the culprit in the Speedruns live channel. FunkyCat decided to waste 15 seconds eating a carrot. I don't know why. But Cocoon picking up Burning as the first ability since not getting Wheel. Oh jeez, no, please don't tell me Funky's doing food percent. Oh boy, but Burning is a very good ability because it's easy to control, it goes fast, and you're invulnerable for a decent chunk of its ability time. So it's just a really good thing to have, and it does decent damage. A lot of things in this game actually do pretty alright damage, as you see with Funky taking out Mr. Frosty, bonking against the wall in order to not spend as much time in the burning animation. Pretty exciting to see just how good Cocoon's doing so far, despite not getting the wheel mix. I know some people, Cough Rocks, have some problems with World of One when they're not doing the wheel movement, because they're too used to the wheel movement, which I think is some kind of weird flex on how much they get wheel mix. But then watching Rocks, you actually don't see wheel mix that often. So heading into the first boss fight, it's a Kirby game, it's Wispy Woods. Wispy Woods is pretty easy, because he's a boss that doesn't do anything because of his getting damaged animation that happens with burning. So you can take him out. Cocoon with a 331, which is still pretty good considering going for wheel mix and missing it. So headed into Ice Cream Islands as Funky is about to head into the boss Wispy. I don't know why I wasn't paying attention to Funky's health, but I don't know why he's already only at 1. Either way, Cocoon having a pretty good 2-1. Gonna move into 2-2 here. We're gonna see some pretty interesting stuff in 2-2, hopefully from MK. Funky is moving through 2-1 now. Doing pretty alright so far. The first room is pretty simple in 2-1. All of 2-1 is pretty simple, actually, but the last room has an enemy that likes to cause some luck. Fortunately, both of them got the good pattern from it. So Cocoon's gonna spit out his Burning to do another mini-boss double star and get Wheel. Not every mini-boss dies in one hit from a double star, and Funky has Ice Cream. Funky is doing mini food percent, I think. So we came up with this category last night in Jay's chat. Shoutouts to runner Jayhawker 47, which I think we said was inspired from a Super Mario World category, where after every level you have to eat the name of the level. So we saw a vegetable with a carrot, and now we're seeing ice cream, I think. Oh boy. Although I don't think Funky did the vegetable stuff in between 1-2 and 1 boss, so I think it might only just be after the first level of each world. Sorry about that, Discord was being a real good application, but while I was unfortunately missing, you witnessed MKCocoon go through the first of the Meta Knight arenas, where Meta Knight will send a wave of enemy minions to fight you. Did a pretty good job on it with a strategy where you use your inhale and spit to destroy the enemies very easily. And you're seeing it again here on Funky's side. Having a little bit of a problem with it. So Cocoon picked up Spark, you might notice. I'm trying to get in the habit of saying MK as like a nickname over Cocoon. But I keep saying Cocoon a lot. But MK picked up Spark. Spark is one of the best DPS abilities in the game. So you'll see it a few times when there's a mini-boss you just want to absolutely tear through. Because I want to say it's basically the second best option. But once you get Attitude 4, you don't need it. As you can see from MK tossing it. I'm gonna pick up Wheel here. Now, one thing you might notice about Wheel right here is that it's very hard to navigate Wheel vertically. So once we get to these vertical parts of levels, we might want to replace Wheel with a better ability, like High Jump, which Cocoon now has. The thing about High Jump is that how it does damage is very different depending on how far into a hitbox you are, and also how, if you manage to not only initiate the High Jump in the hitbox, but cancel the High Jump in the hitbox for maximum damage. You're going to see MK abuse this a lot in the boss against Paint Roller. Going to move to a random corner of the screen. Very good fight afterwards. So now moving into Butter Building as the third world in the game. From this point onwards, every world is going to have 6 levels in a boss, compared to Vegetable Valley's 4 in a boss and Ice Cream Island's 5 in a boss. But 3-1, once you get past that TikTok mini-boss you just saw MK go through very well, you don't really have too much to worry about in this level. You can manipulate the enemies in these hallway areas based on how you jump. So, you can very easily make yourself have no problem. Funky, unfortunately, losing High Jump in the middle of the Paint Roller fight and not having a very good first cycle. Seems to do better on the second cycle. Having some trouble canceling the High Jump inside of the hitbox is what I'm noticing. Is having some really late cancels, which is not very good. Cocoon, MK. Why? Why are you doing this, MK? MK's going for the 3-2 high jump strat, which involves fighting Bugsy, a boss with a notoriously evil hitbox, with the high jump ability. And it actually went well! Good job to MK. Saved some time from not only having a slightly quicker mini-boss kill, but also not having to go through the animation of getting 2 new abilities, because as you might have noticed, there's like a little cutscene when you get a new ability, because you usually get high jump back right at the beginning of 3-3 from that enemy that MK just jumped over. Meanwhile, MK gonna be going through 3-3, not much of a problematic level. You can have some problems with jumps here if you have some incorrect movement. Fortunately, MK did not suffer from that. Yeah, the usual strat that most people go for here is what FunkyCat is doing, picking up the sword. Unfortunately loses it, so we'll probably pick up ice here. Yep, picks up ice, just to have an ability to deal with the Bugsy. Cocoon having a pretty nice 3-4 arena with the high jump strat. High jump, oh, Funky accidentally tossing out his power-up in 3-2. The way that Bugsy works is he'll do 2 random attacks that he has, and then he'll swap over to doing a, to shooting out 2 projectiles that you can inhale. And if he grabs you in his claws like that, he has a few different throws he can do. I think we saw, oh my god, Funky. But dying right after the boss fight, has to do it again, this time entirely abilityless. Has a few different grabs, there's a few different grabs Bugsy can do, though, upon dying. Or upon, a few different throws Bugsy can do upon grabbing Kirby. And the one you never want to see is the down throw, where Kirby gets slammed into the ground several times. So MK is kind of flying through this butter building so far. Funky finishing up 3-2. We're about to go into 3-3. So you'll see how the normal sword strat re-gets high jump here at the beginning of the level. And Cocoon having full health going into the next boss fight. The next boss fight has a fun little game in the community where you can try and place bets on a 50-50 chance of which of these 2 bosses will attack you first. There's the Sun Gang and the Moon Crew, obviously named after the sun or the moon attacking you first. MK is part of that group that doesn't like to guess, which is a much more safer strategy. However, if you guess correctly, you can save time. So again, a lot of people like to make these little groups based on which one they usually guess in run. From my grasp on the community, which is not the biggest because I don't talk to people too much outside of the tournament server, the Moon Crew seems to be a bigger one, but there are still some very dedicated members on both sides. Yeah, actually, fun fact, speaking on Cocoon's strategy of usually not guessing. Ooh, nailing the 4-1 wheel mix. Very well done, Cocoon. So, top runner, Mr. Shasta, actually has a merch store. He's a partnered streamer. And has a Streamlabs merch store in which he has special Sun Gang and Moon Crew designs. Shasta is a runner who represents the Moon Crew themselves, personally. But when Cocoon asked Shasta about a shirt for those who don't guess, he was linked a site in which he was linked a shopping link for a plain white t-shirt. Oh, Cocoon beating not Cocoon. Cocoon grabbing Spark, though. But FunkyCat beating the first bomb in 3-6, very well done. That's a hard thing to do. A small amount of time, but it is rather impressive. MK finishing up here. Gonna move on to 4-3. A lot of frame drops. Funky moving through 3-6. Getting through the dark room with no hit. Very good. So MK's gonna toss Spark here for high jump, which is a minor time save, but is worth it if you can do the strategy in that wind tunnel correctly. That wind tunnel isn't that bad compared to a later game wind tunnel, but it can cause problems, especially with the high jump strat being more dangerous. So Funky beating Shine and Bright so quickly that I didn't even see it. Cocoon messing up a wheel mix. Going for a wheel mix in 4-4 and not getting it, so has to move through these first two screens of the level. Powerless. And MK, not that bad. This is one of the least time loss wheel mixes, I believe, because you do get wheel normally just later in the level. Funky getting back high jump, even though you usually don't need it in the in these upcoming rooms here. It's usually okay if you lose it at this point. But just really wants it, apparently. And Funky, not getting the mix. I'd be surprised if Funky went for wheel there, but we could have seen a different mix strat, which is the burning mix strat. You try and mix burning on the 4-1 mix instead of... And that's a great. Burning on the 4-1 mix instead of wheel, and it still saves time, especially because burning is an auto mix. There are some mixes in this game where you can hold down A in between swallowing the enemy and having the mix wheel start, and you will guaranteed get the first enemy on the mix wheel. In that mix, between the Blade Knight and the Twister, it would give you burning on the first frame, so... Some people use that, notably a runner Sniper, who wants me to learn it, actually. Which I probably should, because it's very easy to do a frame 1 mix, and it still saves time over doing the normal tornado strat of 4-1. So Funky dealing with the double poppies here. So grabbing sword here into 4-6 for TikTok. Very good fight. Oh, and the destruction with the puff. Absolute swag. Funky finishing up 4-3, about to head into 4-4, as MK enters Kracko. So Kracko is the third boss in a row that we're going to be fighting with high jump. That was an okay fight. Could have gone better. Of course, losing your ability in that fight is never good. But at least finished off decently, and Cocoon moving into Yogurt Yard. Missing the door. Grabbing stone here, just to plummet down faster. 5-1's a very easy level, you might notice. You just kind of do the first screen, and then the other two have, like, nothing wrong with them at all. And Cocoon did, like, a rougher strat for the first screen, too. There's, a much safer strat you can use. So, MK grabbing ball. For those that might remember this game casually, you might remember ball being a hard one to control. However, if you can control ball, which a lot of runners can, it becomes the best damaging ability in the game. I'm not even going to say one of, it becomes the best damaging ability in the game. It's going to be able to tear through mini-bosses in just a few hits. You saw Bonkers die to 2. Funky finishing up the 4-5 Meta Knight Arena. Not fantastic. But still, again, still getting through some stuff is difficult, especially because I just noticed Funky's, like, okay, never mind, just got a 1-up. I was gonna mention the 1 health, 0 life. So MK can grab wheel in 5-3 here, very early on, right after high jump no longer needed in the level. And this is a very easy way to just absolutely tear through the level. Not only can you do that, but there's a strat you can do at the end of the level, which we'll see. Yep. Oh. Losing wheel halfway through. Cocoon going for what's known as Shast turns, named after Shasta, who I mentioned earlier, where you try and wheel through that final tunnel. It's very difficult. Again, of course, Cocoon not getting it, but it doesn't matter, because you just want to have burning past that part of the level, or at the beginning of the next level, rather. Burning is very useful here, because you can not only move fast horizontally, but use it in the air. Moving into the 5-4 arena, let's see what we have. Perfect. Absolutely perfect arena. I can't think of a way that could have done much better, or could have been done much better. Funky finishing up 4-6, gonna move into the next level, which is Krakow. And then MK finishing up a very, very clean 5-4. Funky taking damage. So we have another mini-boss here. So MK is gonna opt to keep ball throughout this level. Funky moving into Yogurt Yard. So yeah, this is the first appearance of Fire Lion, who's not very difficult in this setting. And from Fire Lion, you can pick up Burning, which I've talked enough about Burning. Funky was going for a mixed strat there. Ooh, and Cocoon getting a mixed strat here. Interesting. Okay. Funky with the parasol. I'm very interested in what's happening right now. Yeah, so MK getting a 5-5 wheel mix, which saves time on exclusively that screen because you get wheel right here at the beginning of 5-6. But it's still a time save, and it's a very nice one that MK managed to get, and not one I was expecting. So, I mean, hey, throwing me for a loop here. But gonna be able to move through 5-6 very quickly. One thing that you might notice that this game does very well is that when they give you an ability, it's very obvious that they designed the level around that ability. But MK is going to go back into 5-6 after finishing it and try and mix an ability. This is not the usual strat you see here, but since Ball is very powerful, it is technically the fastest here. I'm so mad that went well. So the usual strat there is to do a 1-frame mix, where you can hold A in between the swallow and the mix wheel starting, and you'll get hammer guaranteed, which is a very good ability for the heavy mole fight. Ball is more dangerous, but it is a faster strategy due to just how much more damage it does. And MK did that fight basically perfectly. That is a banana. Oh, MK not getting any mix here. No, trying to mix. Just trying to mix wheel here and not being able to do it. Dying, even. That's very unfortunate, that death, actually. But that's something that can happen, is, with elemental enemies, like ice enemies, or, Okay, there we go. There's a wheel mix. Good job, MK. But like spark, ice, fire, stuff like that, you get special damage animations for getting hit by them. And they're very bad, because they can take a very long time to get invincibility frames. And if you're close to a pit, it's just death. So Funky moving through 5-3, doing wheel jumps, which Cocoon neglected to do. Not going for Shafts turns, though. And getting the pet through. So with wheel here, you're going to see it kept. There's usually a few things that happen throughout 6-2, depending on what strat you have, whether you have 6-1 wheel, 6-3 wheel, or tornado, which are 3 very different strats. 2 of them convene in the upcoming level. 6-1 wheel and 6-3 wheel obviously convene into wheel usage in 6-3. But Tornado carries a tornado from 6-2 throughout all of Orange Ocean. Well, technically not all of, but every strat tries to carry their their ability into a specific point of 6-6. Those 2 flamers that you saw just before this fight against Bonkers is where 6-3 wheel users will mix wheel. And usually the hardest part of using wheel is that Bonkers boss that is somewhat luck-based. Because the way that wheel works, it is when you are transforming and when you are turning is when you're vulnerable. So Cocoon got very lucky that Bonkers basically never went into the corner. Because if Bonkers is in the middle of the arena, that means you can safely turn around and keep hitting him without fear of him hitting you back just for being in a vulnerable state. Some runs can have a lot of problems, even relying on a strat where you hover above Bonkers, and then face away from the wall and use wheel just to get one hit on him. It's a very complicated description for something that looks pretty easy. But the fight is not easy, to say the least. So, Funky moving into 4-5, or not 4-5, 5-5. Didn't point it out, but Funky did take a death in 5-4. On the arena. Speaking of arenas, we're getting close to the last one of the game. It's not in 6-5, but it will be in 6-6 for MK. So it'll happen soon enough. Funky doing a good job with the 5-5 Fire Lion. I am having a lot of problems with level numbers for some reason right now. But getting through. looks like wanted to go for the same wheel mix that MK did, but unfortunately it didn't happen there. So now MK moving into 6-6. This upcoming room can be pretty tricky. These UFOs like to move randomly, and that can cause some problems. MK losing ability right at the end, not good, because you usually want an ability here. What you can do with an ability here is you can, if at least one Frosty shoots a projectile, you can have it, you can use your ability as a second projectile to double star and insta-kill both Frosties. If not, though, you can still get lucky and hope that both Frosties start with an Ice Cube attack. Cocoon did not get lucky. So, losing some time there. That Funky might not lose. Funky gonna be going back into 5-6 to mix. You might see the normal hammer strat here from Funky, as opposed to Cocoon's ball heavy mole, which is, again, a very advanced strat. Funky actually having some problems mixing at all. There we go. Gets the double wheels. And now MK is going to be moving into the Meta Knight fight. Meta Knight forces you to take sword before the battle, so it can be annoying because MK can block your attacks, as you saw what happened to Cocoon here multiple times. Still a very good fight, though. And Funky is going to be moving on to Orange Ocean as MK moves on to Rainbow Resort, which is the last world. So now in this block room, sword is the best option, so it's good that we just got a sword. MK still opting to not get any health here, which is kind of scary considering what the next level is. I won't spoil what, but scary to say the least. Okay, never mind. Gonna take an intentional death here because messing up the mix is just not good. You want to do another frame 1 mix here to get ball. And it's really, you need to get that. And continuing the food theme, Funky has an orange Mountain Dew. I didn't even know that existed. Why does it exist? Why? But 7-2 for MK is one of the biggest run killers. There was recently an advanced tutorial made on almost every possible pattern that every mini-boss in this rush can give you, but you still have to rush through 4 of the mini-bosses that can give you unfavorable patterns, depending on how you react to them. At the end of 7-2, which MK just absolutely tore through, though, so good job there. You want to take the Burning from Fire Lion and use that as a movement tool for the next 2 stages. Or a stage and a half-ish, because there's not too much movement after the mini-boss rush here. There's just a max tomato, which MK doesn't even need. So also to point out from Funky is you're going to be seeing the tornado strategy here. I mentioned this was a thing, and that 6-3 wheel and 6-1 wheel, which MK did 6-1, would converge in 6-3. But since Funky... Never mind! Funky is doing 6-4... Or not 6-4. Is Funky doing... Okay, no, that was just a really weird tornado lock. I thought Funky was going to do 6-2 tornado into 6-3 wheel, which I don't think is a thing. I don't think that's a thing people do. But MK gonna move into 7-4. 7-4 has a few things to watch out for, namely the clockwork rooms and the Sparky that appears in after the Clockwork Rooms. The Clockwork Rooms are a short set of rooms where you move in a circle. In the first two, the enemies move entirely randomly. Second two, it's an entirely consistent pattern of movement. So, looks like this room went pretty okay, although the ballroom did not. So yeah, for the Bronto Burt room and the Flamer room, the two enemies are going to have the exact same movement pattern. Going for a UFO mix and using UFO, this looks intentional. I've never seen this strat before, but this definitely looks like something that MK wanted to do. Oh my god, wait, whoa. Whoa. How new is that? I've never seen that. I wasn't expecting that. Oh my goodness, that is absurd. Oh, MK taking damage. Looks like trying to get a crash here, which is a usual mini-boss strategy for the mini-boss in the upcoming room. Failing to respawn this Crash Bomber on the right. Why are you going for that one? At this point, I think MK should probably just go left. Yep, there we go. So I'm probably doing this as a result. I mentioned the Sparky that you usually see in 7-4. You usually grab Spark right after the Clockwork Rooms, and you'll be using that for the screen that UFO skipped in 7-4, and then also, of course, Wheel in 7-5. But then you use Wheel in 7-5, of course, because it's free. Getting past one of the biggest obstacles, the wind tunnel of room of 7-5 with Wheel can be very tricky, but MK does it and moves on to 7-6, which is the most important part of Wheel here. Like, Wheel, getting Deathless Wind Tunnel is good, but keeping Wheel into 7-6 is super important because this level is super flat. So, having just really fast horizontal movement that you know will be uninterrupted is just amazing. There's a bit of a scary, especially with 1 HP, that happens in the next room MK is going into. The Kabus here like to move in mean ways, and sometimes you can lose your Wheel ability right there. Fortunately, MK not losing it. Still not taking a heal, though, which is scary. Funky, I don't know what Funky's trying to do at this point. It looks like Funky was trying to mix an ability at the beginning of 6-6, but I think by the time you're in 6-6, you're not looking for a mix to make this room easier, considering you have enough health, which Funky definitely did. But you really just want an ability to do the double star that I mentioned earlier when MK was in 6-6. Just grabbing UFO and the Max Tomato in the room. MK gonna move into DDD with 1 HP. Okay, and there's the double star strat from Funky. The thing about DDD is you usually want that inhale to happen close to the beginning, and then you want to get on the other side of DDD, because that is the only attack that will not make DDD stutter as an animation and cancel any previous attack. So it will leave DDD in place vulnerable as long as you are not in front of DDD. This, unfortunately, we had MK die as a result of being on the wrong side of a suction, and almost getting hit into it again. But not dying this time, managing to take a little bit of damage and get rid of DDD. Moving into the end of the run, the Fountain of Dreams, just 2 bosses here. Technically 2 forms of the same boss, but it's 2 phases of... It's really just 2 bosses, I think. The first phase being the orb, a shoot-'em-up section. This orb moves the same way every time, which is important to point out, because the way the orb works is eventually it will do an attack where it dashes to the left side of the screen, and then very slowly shimmies on over back to the right. Since you cannot change the direction Kirby is facing, it is very bad to see the orb do that attack, as it wastes time by causing second, by causing a few seconds in which you cannot hit the orb at all. Funky moving into the, Rainbow Resort here. MK gonna be fighting Wizard, which is the second form of Nightmare. Similar to the orb, this form of Nightmare is completely the same pattern every single time. You need to hit this pattern 6 times, and the attacks it does is always the same. Fortunately, due to the way the fight works, if you miss 1 hit at any point, Funky taking a death at the end of block room in 7-1 will keep him healing us, because I often just get a bunch of healing items, but not good. Probably gonna try to take Spark here, which is the best thing you can do in this room, if you know how to use it correctly, which Funky is not sliding at all. Funky is jumping. But with the Nightmare work, okay, yeah, now switching to Burning, closest to the end of the room. No. Again, with the Nightmare Wizard. Okay. I unplugged and replugged my mic because I heard there was a problem with it somewhere. So, it's there. But MK finishing with a 40-49. Pretty okay. Definitely not fantastic, but better than nothing.
Popping.
And we have MK with us.
That was the most fun I've had all tournament.
GG. That definitely went.
Ooh, your mic's cutting out real bad.
That's not good. Why?
Wait, no. I think it's better now, question mark? I don't know, the chat was saying that...
I don't know. There shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, no, you're fine now. I don't know.
I think Discord might be acting up, because, yeah, you just, like, the heck out for me.
It might be my internet, because apparently I was dropping frames the whole time.
You were dropping frames.
Oh, shoot. 13,000 frames dropped. Nice.
Nice. It was really during, like, great burn, though. So, a question I have. How new is that 7-4 UFO mix?
It's been a concept for 3 years, I think.
Oh, it's been a concept for 3 years.
It has never saved time in a run ever.
Oh,
just because of what happens in 7.5. Because it's pure RNG. You go back to pure RNG strat, and you saw my first run through there, I got hit also. You need some, like, super, super precise movement in order to save more than, like, 2 seconds.
Oh, okay, so it doesn't actually save time despite 7.5.
Yes, it does. If you want to,
thinking it would waste time in 7.5, but still save time overall because of 7.4, right?
Yeah. So you want to inhale the very last Crash Bomber while running past every single other one, and it's really tight. But if you can do that and you get perfect RNG, then overall it saves, I think, 6 or 7 seconds.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, but it's very, very difficult, and RNG with the wheelie. So, yeah. That's only like the 3rd or 4th time I've ever hit the UFO mix in a run, and I was hoping I could get the crash stuff, but then I got blown up 3 times, and then I lost 15 seconds on the fight. So that's why that strat's not done.
Yeah. Well, you finished the run, and you still came out on top.
Yeah. Funky. You know what Funky was doing the whole time, right?
Mini food percent.
Yeah, food percent. So he has he has a banana for yogurt yard because he couldn't find yogurt.
And I mean, that's some potassium.
Some chocolate ice cream, and he's got a water bottle for Fountain of Dreams that I think he's going to chug during the cutscene. So he can look forward to that.
I would chug it during Orb, but I don't think that's allowed.
But anyways, yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna check now. Defeating Funky moves you on to face this was the first match, so you don't have an exact opponent. You're gonna be facing the winner of Cobra and Ox. Yeah, are you scared by either of them?
No. Well, okay. No, I'm not. Okay. Because even if Rox pops off and gets a 39, I can still beat it if it wasn't memeing like today, so...
Yeah, okay.
I did get the fastest ever yogurt yard in this run, though.
Jeez. Okay, pop off. Yeah, the ball heavy mole.
Yeah, no, that was a textbook ball heavy mole. That was really good.
Absolutely. Looking in chat, Funky has been memeing so hard, we might not be able to let him finish.
Oh, rip Funky. I mean, that's a shame, I guess, but...
Yeah, because the way that ALTZP functions, they have a stream, they prevent spoilers, or cheating, stuff like that.
Okay.
Watching other people's streams during your run, and so they have to start on time.
Interesting.
So, I think we can let So yeah, we might try and wrap this up soon, but GG's. Funky, for not finishing this match, will be facing the loser of match 2, which is the loser of Cobral and Rocks. So I guess before that, I want to ask, do you think they're going to be facing Cobral or Rocks?
Okay, so in bracket predictions, I know Rox is my guy, but I voted Cobral. Just because, you know, considering average race time and overall consistency. But I would be happy to face either. That one is probably that and Chase versus Kinnan are like the biggest toss-ups, I would say. So
yeah, for sure. I see there's actually a little bit of toss-up looking at the votes. I think everybody that's voted, there's one person that thinks Snipe will beat Thomas. And then one person that thinks Dark Soul will beat Jay, which I could see maybe one of those happening. I'm gonna say matches you should keep your eye on. Definitely check out the runners and the schedule to see when matches come up. I think we have 2 other matches on the schedule right now. I'll ask to get the command updated for the bracket stage of the tournament. But we have 2 races coming up. On Wednesday, I'm going up against Quill, and then on Thursday is going to be Tom. So make sure to be there for that. With not Thomas, but Funky trying to go for the ball mix in 7-6. We're going to wrap it up. Say, go support Funky on the rest of the run there. And we'll see you on Wednesday.
See you guys.